Some stories were forgotten. Others were hidden. Welcome to the Untold Vault. The 15th of January, 1947. The morning began like countless others in Los Angeles. The city slowly awakened beneath a cool winter sky. Streetcars rattled through quiet neighborhoods. Office workers hurried toward another ordinary day. Children prepared for school. No one imagined that within a few hours, America would become obsessed with one of the most infamous murder mysteries in history. In the quiet neighborhood of Leimert Park, a young mother named Betty Bersinger walked with her 3-year-old daughter along a vacant lot. Then something caught her attention. From a distance, it looked like a discarded department store mannequin lying in the grass. Curious, she stepped closer. Within seconds, her ordinary morning turned into a nightmare. What she discovered would shock the nation, haunt investigators for generations, and transform a 22-year-old aspiring actress into a legend known around the world as the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short wasn't born a mystery. She was born on the 29th of July, 1924, in Hyde Park, Massachusetts. Friends remembered her as polite, soft-spoken, and remarkably beautiful. As a child, Elizabeth struggled with chronic asthma. Doctors often advised her family to spend winters in warmer climates. Those trips to California planted a dream that would stay with her for the rest of her life. Like thousands of young women during the 1940s, she dreamed of Hollywood. She imagined bright lights, movie studios, and a future on the silver screen. She moved between Massachusetts, Florida, and California, hoping each new beginning would finally lead to the life she wanted. But reality was far less glamorous. She worked odd jobs, stayed with friends, sometimes relied on acquaintances for a place to sleep. Still, she never stopped believing that success was just around the corner. People remembered one thing above all else. Elizabeth always dressed elegantly, even when she had very little. Dark clothing became one of her signatures. Years later, the newspapers would give her a name the world would never forget. The Black Dahlia. By January of 1947, Elizabeth Short was 22 years old. She was still chasing the dream that had brought her to California. Hollywood remained a symbol of hope, but behind the glamour, life had become increasingly uncertain. She moved frequently from one place to another, relying on friends, acquaintances, and temporary lodging. Despite the instability, she never gave up on the belief that everything could change with one lucky opportunity. On the 9th of January, 1947, Elizabeth arrived at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Witnesses later recalled seeing her quietly waiting in the hotel lobby. She appeared calm. She was neatly dressed and carried only a small handbag. No one realized they were among the last people who would ever see her alive. Later that evening, Elizabeth left the hotel. She was reportedly seen getting into a dark-colored automobile with an unidentified individual. Investigators were never able to confirm exactly where she went afterward. That moment became the final confirmed sighting of Elizabeth Short. Then, she vanished. For 6 long days, there was no confirmed trace of her. family, friends, and investigators would later struggle to reconstruct those missing hours. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened during that period. It remains one of the greatest unanswered questions in American criminal history. The morning of the 15th of January, 1947, began like any other day in Los Angeles. The city slowly awakened beneath a cold winter sky. Streetcars rolled through quiet neighborhoods. Office workers hurried toward another ordinary morning. Children prepared for school, completely unaware that one of the most infamous murder investigations in American history was about to begin. Just after 10 o'clock that morning, Betty Bersinger was walking with her 3-year-old daughter along Norton Avenue in the Leimert Park neighborhood. As they passed an empty lot, something unusual caught her attention. From a distance, it looked like a discarded department store mannequin lying in the tall grass. Curious, she stepped closer. Within moments, she realized it wasn't a mannequin at all. Horrified, Betty immediately contacted authorities. Within minutes, police officers, detectives, photographers, and reporters flooded the quiet neighborhood. The discovery would dominate newspaper headlines across America. Detectives quickly identified the victim as 22-year-old Elizabeth Short. The young woman whose dreams had brought her to California had become the center of one of the greatest unsolved murder mysteries in American history. By midday, the quiet neighborhood of Leimert Park had transformed into the center of one of the largest murder investigations in Los Angeles history. Detectives worked quickly to secure the area. Every footprint, every tire mark, every discarded object was photographed, measured, and carefully documented. The investigation had only just begun. As officers searched the vacant lot, they quickly realized there were very few clues left behind. The scene was strangely clean. Detectives found no clear signs of a struggle nearby. That raised an unsettling possibility. Elizabeth Short had almost certainly been killed somewhere else, then transported to the vacant lot. Whoever committed the crime had planned it carefully. The precision suggested someone who remained calm under pressure. News of the discovery spread rapidly. Reporters rushed to the scene. Radio stations interrupted regular programming. By the following morning, newspapers across the country carried the story. The public demanded answers. Hundreds of tips flooded police headquarters. Detectives interviewed friends, family members, former employers, soldiers, hotel staff, taxi drivers, anyone who might have crossed paths with Elizabeth during her final days. Every conversation revealed another small piece of the puzzle. Yet the complete picture remained frustratingly out of reach. Then, days after the murder, something arrived that would change the investigation forever. The investigation quickly became unlike anything Los Angeles detectives had ever experienced. Every passing day brought more questions than answers. Then, on the 24th of January, 1947, 9 days after Elizabeth Short's body was discovered, a mysterious envelope arrived at the offices of the Los Angeles Examiner. There was no return address. Across the front of the envelope, individual newspaper letters had been carefully cut out and pasted together. They spelled a chilling message. Here is Dahlia's belongings. Inside, reporters discovered several personal items that had belonged to Elizabeth Short. Her birth certificate, business cards, address book, personal photographs. Every item had been carefully cleaned. Detectives believed the sender had deliberately removed fingerprints before mailing the package. Days later, More letters followed. Each one appeared to come from someone claiming responsibility for the murder. Some promised to surrender. Others mocked investigators, but none led police to the killer. As newspapers published every new development, public fascination exploded. Thousands of people claimed to have information. Hundreds confessed to the crime. Most were quickly dismissed. Detectives found themselves chasing endless false leads, while the real killer remained hidden. Every letter, every confession, only pushed the truth further into the shadows. The investigation would continue for years. Suspects would come and go. Theories would multiply. But one question refused to disappear. Who killed Elizabeth Short? Months turned into years. Despite one of the largest investigations in Los Angeles history, no one was ever convicted of Elizabeth Short's murder. Detectives followed thousands of leads. They interviewed countless witnesses, examined hundreds of confessions, and investigated dozens of possible suspects. Yet every promising lead eventually reached a dead end. As the decades passed, many of the detectives who had devoted their lives to solving the case retired. Others passed away without ever learning the truth. Advances in forensic science offered new hope. Historians, journalists, former investigators, and independent researchers continued to revisit the evidence. New theories emerged. Old suspects were re-examined, but none could answer the question with certainty. Today, the Black Dahlia remains one of the most famous unsolved murder cases in American history. Yet behind the headlines, behind the mystery, and behind decades of speculation, was a real young woman. Elizabeth Short dreamed of a better future. She hoped to build a new life in California. She laughed with friends, wrote letters home, and believed tomorrow would bring new opportunities. Nearly 80 years later, the mystery still endures. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is not the nickname the world gave her, but the person she truly was. Elizabeth Short. A daughter, a friend, a dreamer, and a life that deserved justice. Maybe one day, the truth will finally be known. The murder of Elizabeth Short remains officially unsolved. If new evidence ever emerges, history may finally reveal the truth. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the Untold Vault for more true crime and historical mysteries.